JBN, we keep you informed. Members of Charlton family shot. The Manchester police are confirming that two relatives of the late Cecil Charlton, former mayor of Mandeville and a prominent businessman, were shot and injured earlier today. A member of the police high command in Manchester said he was unable to immediately identify the gunshot victims, but said the injuries are not considered life-threatening. Charlton, who died in 2013, was mayor of Mandeville for about 20 years between the 1960s and the early 1980s. Man fatally stabbed in St. Thomas, suspect on the run. The police in St. Thomas are on the manhunt for a murder suspect following a fatal stabbing on Saturday afternoon. The deceased has been identified as 29-year-old Sashane Sewell of a Mahogany Hill, Dalvey address. It is reported that about 2:30 p.m., an argument developed between the two when the suspect allegedly used a knife to stab Sewell. Sewell ran and was reportedly pursued and stabbed multiple times by his attacker, who then fled the scene. Sewell was rushed to hospital where he was pronounced dead. The police indicated that the suspect is known to them and that he was previously charged in connection with another stabbing murder. St. Anne fisherman charged with murder of senior citizen. A St. Anne fisherman has now been charged with last month's murder of a senior citizen in Steertown in the parish. The police say 34-year-old Marvin Demetrius of Rowan River in Steertown, St. Anne, was charged on Monday, July 20. He is accused of killing 61-year-old Everton Hamilton on June 16. The St. Anne's Bay police say about 9:30 p.m. residents stumbled upon Hilton's body and alerted them. On their arrival, Hilton's burnt body was seen in a ditch with gunshot and chop wounds. An intense investigation was launched, and Demetrius arrested and later interviewed in the presence of his attorney. His court date has not been finalized. Several Sparta gang members in custody in Montego Bay. Following last Thursday's shooting incident in Montego Bay, St. James, in which three men who are said to be major players in the flanker-based Uptown Sparta gang were apprehended, the police say they are now well on course to dismantling the gang. Two Glock 34 pistols were also seized after Thursday's shootout. The latest arrest brings to 7 the number of alleged gangsters the police have apprehended in connection with the deadly gang-related violence which has been plaguing flanker. We have been getting amazing intelligence, and we now believe we have a clear picture of what has been going on in the community and the persons who have been driving the violence, which we have linked to violent incidents in Washington Boulevard, downtown Kingston, and Mountain View in the corporate area, a police source said. We have also managed to establish a link between the violence and the entertainment fraternity, as a man who engaged the police in last Thursday's shooting was subsequently held at a recording studio in Iron Shore, which we have linked to the Uptown Sparta gang. In speaking to the intelligence being generated from persons now in police custody, the source said the information may have saved several lives in recent weeks, as the police have managed to thwart several plans by the gang, including last Thursday's incident in which the gangsters ran into the police while reportedly on their way to carrying out a hit. Within recent weeks, when they show up at various locations, we are usually there waiting on them. The challenge is they are not surrendering, and this has led to several shootouts, the lawman said. The police source also revealed that with several key players now in custody, they have received credible information that a man who is wanted for multiple murders by the St. James police has taken over the leadership of the gang. We have information that he has given orders for the police to be shot at on sight, and that for gangsters to fire on the Jamaica Defense Force base, which is on the outskirts of Flanker, the source said. We are taking the intelligence that we are getting serious, as our statistics have linked this gang to 43 murders since 2015. They are trying to get back at me. PMP's Victor Wright accuses PM of reprisal attack for crime scandal. Opposition spokesman on agriculture Victor Wright has defended the legitimacy of his occupancy of a government-owned house and has characterized Prime Minister Andrew Holness's allegation that he has captured state lands as a smear campaign. Wright flatly rejected claims by Joseph Shakur, Managing Director of Sugar Company of Jamaica, SCJ Holdings, who said in a nationwide interview that the lands, known as Fontebelle Estate in Westmoreland, leased by right in 2011, were being occupied in defiance of a notice to quit and that millions were owed in utility bills. Holness did not name Wright in his scathing rebuke at a meeting of his ruling Jamaica Labour Party, but accused an opposition member of parliament of committing a raft of breaches. The Trelawney North MP believes that Holness's comments were a reprisal attack for his sustained pressure on J.C. Hutchinson, a de facto Minister of Agriculture, who was stripped of his post and transferred under the Prime Minister's wings after allegations of nepotism and conflict of interest. Hutchinson admitted wrongdoing in demanding that Shakur hand over 2,400 acres of government-owned farmlands to a company in which his living partner, Lola Marshall Williams, had a directorship. The company then charged nearly 200 small farmers $9,000 per acre, though not paying the government a cent for 1 year's possession of the property. Last week, Wright had also called for Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton to state whether his personal relationship with the Director of Market May Consulting may have influenced contracts at the marketing firm. They're trying to get back at me for the strident position we took with Minister Hutchinson and the scandalous way in which he approached the Holland Estate land deal, Wright said on Monday. He said that he was seeking legal advice on whether to escalate the matter to the courts. I am putting out what I have because I know there is no wrongdoing on my part. If it is that it warrants further action, then we will give it the necessary consideration, said Wright. In the wake of a series of scandals that have rocked his four-year government, Holness threatened on Sunday to weaponize corruption allegations against the People's National Party, PNP. The Prime Minister also warned that he would counteract scandals assailing his administration by strategically outing the breaches of PNP officials. We have come across many people in the pot who have been jumping and spouting and criticizing our steaming kettle, and they have persons there who are presently occupying government land without paying any rent or any form of remedy, who are doing business there, Holness told supporters during an Era 1 council meeting at the Girl Guides Association of Jamaica headquarters in St. Andrew. He accused the PNP of having a more checkered track record on corruption, saying we may have a little tank, they have a reservoir. In an interview, Wright produced several documents, including one dated May 20, 2011, which was signed by John Gale, the Chief Operating Officer for SCJ Holdings Limited, which offered him a lease with an option to buy. The document stated, "We are pleased to advise that you have been selected as a qualified person to attain a lease for a parcel of land situated at Frome in the parish of Westmoreland with an option to purchase same." Wright claimed that SCJ Holdings owed him money for the time of his employment as operations manager and that those funds were tied up in the lease arrangement. SCJ had some money for us that they could not pay to us former sugar workers, and they gave us documentation for us to sign to say that these funds should go towards the ongoing transition we have with them, said Wright. Wright said that he and 50 others who are now occupying lands on the property in question were waiting on the SCJ to give them the subdivision plans and then the sales agreement in accordance with the lease they signed in 2011. Some people are already taking a refund from SCJ, but I never took that option. I chose to take the $666,000 that they have for me. They should give us 50% and the remainder should go towards clearing off the lease, he said. Writers countered claims about unpaid electricity bills, arguing that he has an arrangement with the Pan-Caribbean Sugar Company, which owns and operates Frome Sugar Estate. He said that he's in good standing with the Chinese-owned company. The light belongs to Pan-Caribbean Sugar Company, and we have entered into our own arrangement with the company, and we're up to date with all our payments, said Wright. Earlier on Monday, PNP General Secretary Julian Robinson, in a press statement, said that Wright had declared the matter to Parliament. He said it was examined by the Ethics Committee of the House of Representatives and included in Wright's annual filings to the Integrity Commission. Prime Minister Andrew Holness' outburst at his Era Council 1 meeting on Sunday shows the extent to which he'll go to create a false equivalency as a smokescreen to cover his ministers who have been caught several times in wrongdoing, corruption and breaches of the government's land divestment policy, Robinson said. Spike in COVID-19 cases, a worrying trend, says Guy. People's National Party PNP spokesperson on health and wellness, Dr. Maurice Guy, says the spike in the number of positive COVID-19 cases and the increased hospitalizations present a worrying trend for the country. In a statement today, Guy noted that Jamaica had seen an 80% jump in the number of people who have been hospitalized as the COVID-19 cases surpassed 800 yesterday. The spokesman said that between July 19 and July 20, COVID-19 admissions had a dramatic jump from 5 to 35 positive patients. He said that with the backlog of test results, it is uncertain as to the true level of community spread, and every Jamaican must take necessary steps to ensure their own safety as the number of cases increases. This, he said, is critical in order to prevent the health system from being overwhelmed beyond its capacity. The extent of community spread is uncertain, and the government has scaled back on the testing of incoming passengers while pursuing a strategy to reopen the country and get the economy moving again. However, as the number of positive cases increases, the wearing of masks, frequent hand washing, and social distances must be maintained. It is our defense against COVID-19 and the protection of the Jamaican society, Guy said. He also noted that Florida, which accounts for the majority of incoming passengers to the island, is now the new epicenter for the virus, and argued that those passengers should be carefully screened and tested before being allowed to mingle with the rest of the population. JBN, we keep you informed. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, leave us a comment, and click the notification bell to receive our daily news items.